action that they then ask people to pursue. So,
but in principle, you think it's okay for me to go through the streets with a banner saying, send the buggers back, basically, which is the line that's gone on for years?
Yeah, I think that's if that's somebody's opinion, they should be entitled to have that opinion heard. So that's democracy.
So if I were to go, last week was the Gay Pride event where we had a man beat up on the Saturday night before by two thugs who were so stupid that they saw a wristband and they asked him, are you queer? And then kicked 7 shades of colour out of him. I have a right to go on the gay parade with a banner saying I hate fags, like they do in America.
I've got no particular objection to people having their free speech, however objectionable it may be to people.
Very interesting. What's your take then on the Castleford fans who were making fun of the gay rugby player? Did they have the right to make fun, says Mark in Leeds?
Well, I mean, I wasn't. I have been to watch Castleford play rugby league. I am actually a rugby league fan, but it's difficult to know without being there exactly whether anything went beyond what was acceptable or not. And these things are often judgment calls. But I think in general, and clearly, you know, your example, and this may or may not be part of it. But I think we in many cases in this country, we're having a sense of humour failure, and you know, we should judge jokes on whether they're funny or not. And people make lots of jokes about people from Yorkshire being tight, and I don't find it offensive. If it's a funny joke, it's funny, and I think often we've got to laugh at ourselves. We shouldn't take ourselves.
But there is a difference, isn't there? So there we go. I want to talk about the death penalty. You'd bring this back, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
For who?
For murderers.
What about paedophiles?
Well, I mean, we can have a debate about who sort of qualifies.
Well, I think a paedophile can be worse than a murderer.
Well, maybe. Let's not split hairs over this. I think the principle's the important thing. That it should be. That it's a perfectly legitimate punishment.
But if you get it wrong, it's a bit terminal, isn't it?
Well, no, it is. But you see, the people sort of say, well, you know, there's been people who have been wrongly convicted and sort of Timothy Evans kind of cases, and that's absolutely right. But we've also got to remember that there's lots of people who have been convicted murderers who have been let out of prison, who would have been killed under my system, who have then gone on and murdered somebody else. And what about those innocent people who have been killed? You know,
but some will argue you killing them killing someone else, you're both as bad as each other.
No, I think it's a legitimate form of punishment. If people commit a crime knowing that the punishment is that you will be hanged or whatever form of punishment it is.
What about chopping off fingers then for burglars? I mean, it works in Dubai, doesn't it?
It does work. It works in some countries in the Middle East. That's their way of doing things. It's not particularly our way of doing things, but their crime rate is a lot lower than ours. So perhaps we shouldn't be lecturing those countries that have much lower crime rates on ways that they should treat their offenders.